The ship landed on a planet that had no name humans could speak. The Galactic Coalition just called it Academy World. For 6,000 years, warriors from across the galaxy came here to train. They came as recruits. They left as soldiers. Some did not leave at all. Stood near the back of the human group. There were 12 of them, 12 humans from Earth, the first ever allowed to train at the Academy. Earth had only discovered faster-than-light travel 40 years ago. To the rest of the galaxy, humans were bobbies, new, unimportant, weak. Was 24 years old. She had spent 6 years in the Korean Special Forces before this. She had seen combat. She had killed. But she kept her eyes down as she walked off the ship. She made her shoulders soft. She wanted to look small and harmless. The air smelled wrong. Too much sulfur. The gravity was a little heavier than Earth. Noticed these things without seeming to notice anything at all. The Academy was huge. Metal towers rose into an orange sky. Training grounds stretched for kilometers in every direction. Thousands of aliens moved through the grounds. Had seen pictures of other species before, but pictures were different from reality. A creature with 8 legs and a body like a spider made of glass walked past her. Behind it came something that looked like a floating ball of blue fire. 2 massive beings covered in gray rock stood guard at the main gate. Each one was 3 meters tall. Their eyes glowed red. The human recruits tried not to stare. They failed. A reptilian alien was waiting for them at the registration building. He stood over 2 meters tall. His body was covered in scales that looked like hammered bronze. He had 4 arms. Each arm ended in a hand with claws longer than human fingers. His eyes were yellow with black slits for pupils. This was Instructor. He was from a species that had conquered 12 star systems through war. They were famous for 2 things, fighting and killing. Looked at the humans the way a person might look at insects. "You are the Earth creatures," he said. His voice was deep and rough. "I am told your species is curious, like small animals that poke their noses into everything. The Academy has accepted you as a favor to your government. Do not mistake this for respect." None of the humans responded. They had been told to stay quiet, to be polite. Earth needed allies in the galaxy. They could not afford to make enemies. Made a sound that might have been a laugh. "You will register through the scanner. It will record your species, your body type, and your threat level. Then you will receive your training assignments." The recruits lined up. One by one, they walked through a large metal arch. The arch hummed with blue light. Numbers and symbols appeared on a screen beside it. Alien text that the humans could not read. Watched the aliens who operated the scanner. She watched how they reacted to the readings. Most of the time they looked bored. Sometimes they nodded with approval. For the humans they showed nothing. Not surprise, not interest, not concern. Park went through before. He was her friend. They had trained together on Earth for 2 years before being selected for this mission. He was a good soldier, brave, strong, loyal. The scanner hummed. The operators glanced at the screen and made a note, nothing special. Then it was turn. She walked through the arch slowly. The blue light washed over her. For a moment nothing happened. Then the scanner made a sound it had never made before, a harsh buzzing. Warning lights flashed red along its frame. The operators jumped back from their stations, turned sharply, his claws clicking against the metal floor. On the screen, text appeared in the universal language that all species could read. Warning, threat assessment unable to calculate. Recommendation, do not engage. The words hung in the air. Everyone stared at them. Then everyone stared at. She stood in the center of the arch, looking confused. She was small. Her black hair was tied back in a simple ponytail. She wore the same gray uniform as all the other human recruits. There was nothing special about her, nothing threatening. She looked like a young woman who had wandered into the wrong place. Moved closer. His yellow eyes studied her with new interest. Then he checked the scanner himself, pressing buttons and reading data. "Malfunction," he announced. "The machine is broken. Human biology must confuse its sensors." He waved forward out of the arch. "Move along, creature. You are holding up the line." Moved, she kept her eyes down. She did not speak. But as she passed, she memorized everything about him. The way he stood, the way he moved, the slight stiffness in his upper right arm, the pattern of scales around his neck where the armor was thinnest. She had been watching since she arrived, watching and learning. That was what humans did. That was what humans had always done. On Earth, they had not survived by being the strongest or the fastest. They had survived by watching, by learning, by remembering. The scanner was not broken. Knew this. The scanner had looked at her and seen something it could not understand, something it could not measure. It had seen a human. That night in the barracks assigned to Earth recruits, Park sat down beside her. "What was that?" he asked quietly. "With the scanner." Looked at him, her face showed nothing. "I do not know," she said. But she was lying. She knew exactly what she was. She knew what all of them were. The galaxy just had not figured it out yet. They would learn. They always did. The only question was whether they would learn in time. 3 weeks passed at the academy. 3 weeks of pain and humiliation for the human recruits. Every morning began with physical training. Running, climbing, fighting. The humans were tested against other species and they lost. They lost badly. They lost constantly. They were fast. Their bodies were built for speed, with long legs and light bones. When races were held, the finished before humans had reached the halfway point. The instructors did not even bother to record human times. They were strong. They came from a heavy gravity world where everything weighed 3 times more than on Earth. Their bodies were thick with muscle. Their bones were dense like stone. When strength tests were held, a single could lift what 5 humans could not move. They were quick. They were beings with compound eyes that could track movement in all directions. Their reflexes were so fast that humans seemed to move in slow motion. In reaction tests, humans finished last every time. Day after day, the same results. Humans were slower, weaker, less capable. The other species began to call them the walking dead. They said humans were only at the academy because Earth had begged for a place. Charity cases, jokes. But the humans did not quit. Park had his arm broken during a grappling exercise. His opponent was a named, who weighed 300 kilograms. The sound of bone cracking was loud enough for everyone to hear. Fell to the ground, his face white with pain. The medical officers came. They said he would need 2 days to heal in the regeneration chamber. Refused. He sat up, grabbed his broken arm and pulled. The bone shifted back into place with a grinding sound. He wrapped it himself with bandages from his pocket. Then he stood. "I am ready for the next exercise," he said. They stared at him. "You are stupid," said. "You do not know when you are beaten." Said nothing, he just waited. The instructor, with clicking mandibles, made a note on her tablet. She did not say what she wrote, but her compound eyes stayed on for a long time after that. Watched everything. She watched the way different species moved. She watched their training patterns. She studied their bodies looking for weak points. She memorized fighting styles. She also watched Instructor. They came to the human training sessions often. He said it was to evaluate their progress, but knew he came to laugh at them. He enjoyed watching humans fail. It confirmed what he already believed, that humans were nothing. Was a blade master. This was a high rank among the. It meant he had killed over 200 opponents in ritual combat. His weapon was a curved sword made of molecular bonded steel. The blade could cut through armor. It could cut through bone. It could cut through almost anything. Watched how he held the sword. She watched how he demonstrated techniques to other students. She noticed that he favored his upper right arm. She noticed that he always stepped left before a major strike. She noticed that his scales were thinner at the joints, especially around his neck and under his secondary arms. She noticed everything. At night when the other humans slept, practiced. Not fighting. Not yet. She practiced breathing. She practiced stillness. She practiced moving without thought, letting her body act before her mind could interfere. On Earth this was called Mushin, the mind of no mind. It was an old concept from old warriors. When danger came, thinking was too slow. The body had to move on its own. 3 weeks passed, then the announcement came. Midterm combat assessments. Every recruit would be paired with an opponent for a demonstration match. The purpose was to show progress, to prove that training was working. The pairings were random, or so the academy claimed. When saw her assignment, she understood. It was not random at all. She had been paired with Instructor himself. The other humans gathered around her. Their faces were worried, afraid. "This is wrong," said one of the younger recruits. "They cannot do this. He will kill you." "They can do whatever they want," said another human. "We are nothing to them." Park pushed through the group. His arm had healed mostly. He stood in front of and met her eyes. "I will take your place," he said. "I will volunteer. Tell them you are sick. Tell them anything. I will fight him instead." Looked at her friend. She saw the fear he was hiding, not fear for himself, fear for her, was ready to die for her, he truly was. But she shook her head. "No," she said, her voice was quiet but firm. "I will fight." Grabbed her shoulder. "He is a blade master. He has killed hundreds. You have no weapon, you have no armor. This is not a test. This is an execution." Removed his hand gently. She looked around at the other humans. They were all watching her, waiting. "I have been preparing for this," she said. "Since the day we arrived, I know him. I know how he moves. I know how he thinks. I know his weaknesses." She paused. "He knows nothing about me." The room was silent. Nobody knew what to say. Finally spoke. "The scanner on the first day, it said do not engage. It said you were dangerous." Smiled. It was a small smile, cold. "The scanner was right," she said. "Now everyone else will learn why." The training arena was full. Word had spread through the academy like fire. A human female would face a blade master. Everyone wanted to watch. Aliens of every species filled the seats. The sat in groups, their long limbs folded beneath them. The stood at the back, too heavy for the chairs. The hung from the ceiling, their compound eyes reflecting the arena lights. Even the creatures of energy and light had come, floating above the crowd like small suns. They had all come to see the same thing, a human die. In the betting pools, survival odds were 12%. Most of that came from the small chance that might show mercy. Nobody believed she could actually survive a real fight. The other human recruits sat together near the front. Park had not slept the night before. His face was pale. His hands were fists in his lap. He had tried 3 more times to take place. 3 times she had refused. Walked into the arena alone. She wore the standard training uniform, gray cloth, no armor, no padding. Her feet were bare on the metal floor. Her hands were empty. She looked small. She looked helpless. She looked like exactly what the aliens expected. A soft, weak creature that had no business being here. Instructor entered from the opposite side. The crowd made sounds of approval. He was magnificent in his battle gear. His bronze scales gleamed under the lights. His 4 arms were bare, showing muscles like twisted rope. In his primary right hand, he held his ceremonial blade. The blade was famous. It was called Throat Cutter in the language. It had killed 237 opponents over the centuries. Some had been warriors. Some had been criminals. Some had been students who showed disrespect. Raised the blade high. The crowd cheered. "Human," he called out, his voice carrying across the arena. "You may yield at any time. Simply speak the word and this ends. I will try not to damage you permanently." He smiled as he said it. His teeth were sharp and yellow. Did not respond. She stood in the center of the ring, waiting. Her face showed nothing. Her body was relaxed. Her breathing was slow and even. Above the arena, a large screen flickered to life. This was the combat scanner, a more advanced version of the registration machine. It analyzed both fighters in real time. It predicted outcomes. It showed threat levels. The screen displayed information about first, species, rank Blade Master, combat experience extensive, threat level extreme, kill probability 94%. Then it turned to. The screen flickered. Static crossed the display. Numbers appeared and disappeared. The system was trying to calculate, trying to understand. Finally, words appeared. Human female, KNGYUNA. Threat assessment, error. Combat prediction, error. Recommendation, do not engage. The crowd went silent. Then they began to laugh. The scanner was broken again, just like on the first day. Human biology was confusing the machines. It was funny. It was pathetic. Laughed loudest of all. His rough voice echoed through the arena. Your machines fear ghosts, Academy Master, he called to the observation deck above. Shall I show them what humans truly are? On the observation deck, a figure leaned forward. This was Academy Master. She was ancient, older than most species could imagine. Her body was pure energy, contained within a shell of living crystal. She had watched warriors train for 4,000 years. In all that time, she had never seen a scanner fail to calculate odds. Not once. Proceed, she said. Her voice did not travel through air. It appeared directly in minds clear and cold. Needed no more permission. He lunged. The blade moved faster than human eyes should be able to follow. 4 arms meant 4 possible angles of attack. Used all of them. His body spun. His feet pushed off the ground. The blade cut through the air towards neck. And moved. Not backward, not to the side. She moved forward, into the attack. Her left hand came up, but she did not try to stop the blade. That would be impossible. Instead, her fingers found his wrist. The exact point where his momentum was committed. The exact moment when his joints were locked and he could not change direction. She redirected his force. She borrowed his speed. Her body turned with his, moving around the blade like water flowing around a stone. Her right palm struck the nerve cluster beneath his second arm, a point she had identified during 3 weeks of observation, a point where his scales were thin and his nerves were exposed. Gasped, his second arm went numb, his grip on the blade faltered. And then's hand was around his wrist, holding the blade 3 centimeters from her own throat, holding it still, holding it with a grip that should have been impossible for someone her size. The arena fell absolutely silent. 10,000 aliens stopped breathing at the same moment. Looked up at the scanner display. The words still flashed red, do not engage. Then she looked into his yellow eyes. She saw confusion there, and the first small seed of fear. Engage anyway, she said. Then she attacked. The fight lasted 4 minutes and 32 seconds. By coalition standards, it should have lasted 4 seconds. That was how long a blade master needed to kill an inferior opponent. 4 seconds, sometimes less. Instead, the galaxy watched a human female take apart one of its most feared warriors. Could not overpower, that was impossible. He was larger, stronger. His 4 arms could attack from angles she could not match. His scales could stop blades. His body had been built for war over millions of years of evolution. But none of that mattered. Did not fight the in front of her. She fought the she had built in her mind. For 3 weeks she had watched him, every training session, every demonstration, every casual movement. She had recorded everything. She knew he always stepped left before a major attack, so she was never where he expected. She knew his upper right arm was slightly stiff from an old injury, so she forced him to rely on it. She knew his ego would not let him retreat, so she gave him openings that were actually traps. Every time his blade swung, it hit empty air, was already gone, moving to the next position, reading his body language, predicting his next move before he made it. The crowd watched in growing disbelief. This was not combat, this was something else, something they had no name for. Grew frustrated, his attacks became faster, wilder. He stopped thinking about technique, he just wanted to hit her, to prove that she was nothing. That was his mistake. When his control struck, her palm hit the joint of his primary wrist. The same nerve cluster technique. His grip loosened. She did not take his blade, she did not need it. Instead, she grabbed his arm and twisted. The angle was precise. The pressure was exact. Something in his wrist cracked. Roared in pain. His blade fell to the ground. He swung at her with his remaining arms. 3 fists coming from 3 directions. Any one of them could crush her skull. But was not there, she had already moved. Her knee struck the back of his leg, he stumbled. Her elbow hit the base of his neck where the scales were thinnest. His vision blurred. He tried to grab her with his secondary arms. She slipped between them like smoke. Her fingers found another nerve cluster. His left side went numb. For 3 weeks she had mapped his body, every weakness, every vulnerability, every point where pain could be delivered. Now she was using that map. Fell to his knees. He could barely see. He could barely feel his limbs. This small creature had taken him apart without using a single weapon, without taking a single hit. He looked up at her. His yellow eyes were wide with something he had never felt before, true fear. Yield, asked. Her voice was calm, she was not even breathing hard. For a long moment, said nothing. His pride screamed at him to keep fighting, to die before admitting defeat to a human. But his body would not obey. She had made sure of that. I yield, he whispered. The arena remained silent. 10,000 aliens sat in shock. They had just watched the impossible. Then slowly, Academy Master descended from the observation deck. Her crystal body floated down to the arena floor, pulsing with colors that human eyes could not fully see. The crowd parted before her. She stopped in front of. For a long moment, the ancient being simply looked at her. The scanner said finally. Her voice appeared in every mind present. It did not malfunction, it calculated correctly. She turned to address the entire arena. Do you understand what you saw today? The scanner could not predict the outcome because this human could not be predicted. She was not reacting to Instructor. She was fighting a model of him that she had built through observation, a model more complete than our machines could create. Attention returned too. How long did it take you to learn him? 3 weeks, said. And the other instructors, how many have you studied? Met the ancient being's gaze without fear. She had faced down a blade master. This was nothing. All of them, she said. The silence that followed was heavier than gravity. Every instructor in the academy realized at the same moment that this small human had been watching them, learning them, building models of them in her mind. Made a sound that might have been a laugh. Your species, she said. You are not strong, you are not fast, you do not have natural weapons or armor, but you watch, you learn, you remember, and then you exploit what you learn. She turned to face the crowd. This is what humans are. This is why the scanner could not calculate, because humans do not fight their opponents. They fight the pattern of their opponents, and patterns can be broken. In the stands, Park was crying. He did not care who saw. His friend was alive, more than alive. She had shown them all. On the arena floor, slowly climbed to his feet. His body was damaged. His pride was destroyed. But he looked at with something new in his eyes. Respect. You knew, he said. From the beginning, you knew you could beat me. Shook her head. I knew I could learn you. The beating came after. Stared at her for a long moment. Then he bowed, a blade master bowing to a human. It had never happened before. "I was wrong about your species," he said. "You are not weak. You are something else entirely." Bowed back. "We are human," she said. "That is enough." 1 year passed, then 5, then 10. The galaxy changed, not through war, not through conquest, through something much simpler, understanding. The 12 human recruits all graduated from the academy, all 12, not one washed out, not one quit. This had never happened before with any species. The academy always lost recruits, always. But humans were different. Word spread across the coalition. Stories about the soft creatures from Earth. Stories about soldiers who broke their own bones and kept fighting. Stories about a small woman who defeated a blade master with her bare hands. Stories about a species that did not know how to give up. At first the stories were hard to believe. Then more humans came to the academy. Then more. Each one proved the stories true. Humans were not the strongest, but they could fight anyone. Humans were not the fastest, but they could outlast anyone. Humans were not but they could learn anyone. And once they learned you, you could not surprise them anymore. Your patterns became their weapons. The coalition's military leaders began to take notice. They studied human history. They learned about a species that had started as prey on a dangerous world, a species with no claws, no fangs, no armor, a species that should have died 1,000,000 times. But humans had a gift that no other species shared. They could look at any system and find the cracks: physical systems, social systems, military systems. It did not matter. Give a human enough time and they would find the weakness. Some species found this terrifying. They were right to be afraid. Graduated top of her class, every military organization in the coalition wanted her. Admirals offered her command of fleets. Intelligence agencies offered her unlimited resources. Mercenary companies offered her fortunes. She refused them all. Instead, she returned to the academy as an instructor, the first human to ever hold this position. Her specialty was simple. She taught alien species how to think like humans. The scanner was right, she told her first class, 20 students from 12 different species. All of them had once believed humans were beneath them. Now they sat in silence, waiting to learn. Do not engage a human directly. We will lose the first exchange. Perhaps the second, but we will learn, we will adapt, and we will find your pattern. Park stood beside her. He was her assistant instructor now. His arm had been broken 4 more times since that first day at the academy. He had said it himself each time. He demonstrated techniques on a training dummy while spoke. "So what do you do?" asked the young student. "How do you fight humans?" Smiled. It was the first real smile any of her students had seen on a human face. "You make sure there is no third exchange," she said. Years passed. Human instructors became common at the academy. Human soldiers served in every branch of the coalition military. Human strategists advised admirals and generals of species that had been fighting wars when Earth was still covered in ice. The galaxy learned to respect humanity, then to value them, then to need them. When the crisis came, humanity was ready. The harvesters arrived without warning. They were not a species. They were a plague, biomechanical horrors that consumed everything in their path. Their ships adapted to any weapon. Their soldiers regenerated from any wound. They had eaten 100 civilizations across 10,000 years. Now they had come to coalition space. The first fleets sent against them were destroyed completely. The second fleets lasted slightly longer. The third fleets did not even engage. They saw what was coming and fled. Emergency meetings were held. Leaders from every species gathered to plan a response. The greatest military minds in the galaxy studied the harvesters. They ran simulations. They calculated probabilities. Every simulation ended the same way: total defeat within 2 cycles. Their ships adapt faster than we can develop new weapons, the admiral reported. His name was. He had risen far since his defeat at the academy. The experience had made him better, stronger, more humble. Their soldiers cannot be killed, added a general. We have tried everything. They simply regenerate. Our models show no path to victory, the intelligence chief confirmed. We have analyzed every possible strategy. None work. Silence fell over the chamber. The greatest powers in the galaxy had no answer. For the first time in 6,000 years, the coalition faced extinction. Then Academy Master spoke. She was older now. Her crystal shell had grown dim, but her voice was still clear in every mind. "Send the humans," she said. The chamber erupted in confusion. Humans were useful, respected, valued, but they were still small, still soft, still young. How could they succeed where the great powers had failed? Raised a hand for silence. "The harvesters are a system," she said. "A pattern. They have consumed 100 civilizations because no species has ever broken that pattern. No species has ever learned them." She turned to look at, who sat among the human delegation. "But that is what humans do. They watch, they learn, they find the cracks, and then they break you." She looked around the chamber at the most powerful beings in the galaxy. They were all looking at her, waiting, hopping. She thought about her first day at the academy, the scanner that could not understand her, the instructor who thought she was nothing, the 3 weeks of learning that had changed everything. "The harvesters have never met humans before," she said. "They do not know what we are. They cannot predict us. Their patterns will not work against us." She smiled, that same cold smile from years ago. "We will learn them. We will find their weakness. And then we will show them what happens when you engage anyway." 1 year later, the harvester threat was ended. The details remained classified. The coalition never revealed exactly what the humans did. Some said they found a flaw in harvester biology. Some said they turned the harvester's adaptation against them. Some said they did something so unexpected that the harvesters simply could not process it. The truth did not matter. What mattered was the result. Humanity had saved the galaxy, not through strength or speed or natural weapons, through the same gifts that had saved them on Earth 1,000,000 years ago. They watched, they learned, they adapted, and they never ever gave up. In the Academy archives, a single file remained from that first day when humans arrived, a scanner reading that had confused the greatest minds in the coalition. Warning, threat assessment unable to calculate. Do not engage. Someone had added a note beneath it. The handwriting was human. "Engage anyway, we dare you."